The vast emptiness of space surrounded the Meridian Armada, their once proud fleet now drifting helplessly at the edge of an unremarkable star system. Captain Torrin stood at the command center of the flagship, his four-fingered hands gripping the railing as he stared at the holographic display showing their dire situation. "The main propulsion system has failed completely," reported Engineer Lax, his voice tight with frustration. "We've tried every repair protocol in our database. Nothing works." Torrin nodded slowly. The Meridian civilization had traveled the stars for over 10,000 years. Their technology was elegant, advanced, and now, inexplicably, broken. For 3 months, they had been stranded here, their supplies dwindling as their best minds failed to solve the problem. "What about the natives of the third planet?" Torrin asked, pointing to the small blue world visible on their long-range scanners. The science officer, Mira, looked up in surprise. "The humans. They're primitives, Captain. They've barely reached their own moon. Their technology is crude at best. Yet they keep solving problems that should destroy them," Torrin countered. "I've been watching their transmissions. They make up for their technological limitations with remarkable adaptability." The command room fell silent. Asking for help from a lesser species was unprecedented in Meridian history. It went against everything their proud culture stood for. "We have no choice," Torrin said firmly. "Prepare a distress signal. Make it simple enough for human systems to detect and decode." Dr. Alan Reed yawned as he stared at his computer screen. The night shift at the Hillside Observatory was usually uneventful. Most of his colleagues considered monitoring deep space signals a waste of time, but Alan believed someone needed to listen. The sudden beeping of his equipment made him jump. He adjusted his glasses and leaned forward. "What the hell?" he muttered, watching as a clear pattern emerged from the background noise. This wasn't random. This was structured. A message. Alan's fingers flew across the keyboard, running the signal through various filters and analysis programs. The pattern repeated every 90 seconds, coming from somewhere beyond Mars. His heart raced as he picked up his phone. "Director Wilson. Yes, I know it's 3 a.m., but you need to see this right now." 2 days later, Alan found himself in a crowded conference room at the United Earth Defense Headquarters. Military officers and scientists argued loudly around him. "It's obviously a hoax," insisted General Parker, slamming his fist on the table. "Some college kids with a transmitter, nothing more." "The signal is coming from beyond our solar system," Alan replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "We've confirmed its position with 3 separate observatories." "And the message?" asked Dr. Levine, the head of Xenolinguistics. Alan pulled up the decoded transmission on the main screen. "It's simple. Mathematical sequences first, establishing intelligence, then basic chemical formulas, and finally this, coordinates and what appears to be a request for assistance." The room fell silent as they stared at the evidence. "We need to send someone to check it out," Alan said. "I recommend Commander Maya Jones. Her engineering team is the best we have." General Parker laughed bitterly. "You want us to send humans into deep space based on a mysterious signal? This could be a trap. Or it could be the most important moment in human history," countered Director Wilson, who had remained quiet until now. "If there are aliens out there asking for our help, imagine what that means." As the debate raged on, no one noticed the small blinking light on the communications panel. Another signal was coming through, more urgent than the first. In the emptiness of space, Captain Torrin watched the small blue planet and waited. Their fate now depended on creatures they had only observed from afar. Creatures who built imperfect machines, who took risks, who never seemed to give up no matter how impossible the odds. "Let's hope the humans are as resourceful as they appear," he whispered to himself as the lights on his ship flickered once again. Commander Maya Jones studied the mission briefing one last time as her shuttle approached the International Space Station. At 35, she had already built a reputation as one of Earth's most innovative engineers. When problems seemed impossible, people called Maya, still think this is a wild goose chase?" asked Dr. Ben Thomas, the mission's chief scientist, floating into the seat beside her. Maya shrugged. "Doesn't matter what I think. If there's even a small chance there's someone out there who needs our help, we go." The newly commissioned deep space vessel Horizon waited for them at the station. Built for exploration rather than first contact, the ship had been hastily retrofitted with additional communication equipment and supplies. The crew of 12 engineers, scientists, and pilots represented the best Earth had to offer. 6 weeks to reach the coordinates. Captain Louis Diaz informed them during the final briefing. "Though I still don't understand how we're supposed to help an alien civilization advanced enough to travel between stars. Sometimes fresh eyes see what experts miss," Maya replied simply. 4 weeks into their journey, the Horizon's sensors detected something massive ahead. "That's impossible," whispered Lieutenant Kim, the sensor operator. "The readings suggest a structure nearly 15 kilometers long." Maya leaned over the console. "Not a structure. Structures. Multiple objects in formation." Captain Diaz ordered the ship to approach cautiously. As they drew closer, the magnitude of what they were seeing became clear. A fleet of enormous vessels drifted in perfect formation, sleek, elegant ships that made the Horizon look like a child's toy. "They're beautiful," Dr. Thomas said, his voice filled with awe. A transmission reached them, accompanied by simple visuals. Docking instructions. "Well," Maya said, taking a deep breath, "let's not keep our new friends waiting." The human delegation stepped through the airlock into the alien vessel. Despite their preparation, nothing could have readied them for what they encountered. The interior glowed with soft blue light. The air felt strangely perfect, not too warm, not too cool. Everything appeared to be made of flowing, seamless material. 4 tall figures waited for them. The aliens stood nearly 7 feet tall, with slender bodies, 4-fingered hands, and facial features that seemed almost human-like, yet distinctly foreign. "We are Meridian," the foremost alien said in surprisingly good English. "I am Captain Torin. We have learned your language from your transmissions." Maya stepped forward. "Commander Maya Jones of Earth, we received your distress call." Torin's large eyes blinked slowly. "You came. Many on my council doubted you would or could." "Humans tend to surprise people," Maya replied with a small smile. "Now tell us about your problem." Captain Torin led them through corridors that seemed to shift and adjust as they walked. He explained how the Meridian Armada had been exploring this region when their propulsion systems failed catastrophically. "Our civilization has traveled space for 10 millennia, he explained. "Such a failure has never occurred before. The engine room was vast, filled with technology beyond human understanding. Crystalline structures pulsed with energy, and holographic displays showed diagrams of impossible complexity. Engineer Lax approached, regarding the humans with obvious skepticism. "These are the helpers you called. Their vessel uses chemical propulsion, primitive combustion. Yet they arrived when we could not leave," Torin replied firmly. Maya ignored the tension, moving toward the central control unit. "Your technology is amazing. May I see the diagnostic reports?" When Lax reluctantly displayed the information, Maya studied it carefully. After several minutes, she turned to Ben with a surprised expression. "It's elegant," she whispered. "Too elegant. Everything is optimized for perfect conditions." "And space is rarely perfect," Ben replied, beginning to understand. Maya nodded, looking up at the towering aliens. "I think I see part of your problem. Your systems lack redundancy, backup options for when things go wrong." "Redundancy is inefficient," Lax stated, as if explaining to a child. "On Earth, we learned the hard way that efficiency isn't everything," Maya replied. "Sometimes you need a backup plan, or a backup for your backup." Captain Torin studied Maya intently. "You believe you can help us?" "I don't know yet," Maya answered honestly, "but we're going to try." 3 days after first contact, the human team set up a temporary workshop aboard the Meridian flagship. Tools and equipment from the Horizon looked crude and out of place next to the sleek alien technology. Maya stood before a holographic display showing the Meridian propulsion system. She ran her hand through her short hair, a habit when she was deep in thought. The engine design was beautiful, a perfect harmony of exotic matter manipulation and gravity fields. "It's like someone built a Ferrari, but forgot to include a spare tire," she murmured. Ben looked up from his tablet. "Or jumper cables, or warning lights." The Meridian engineers watched the humans with a mixture of curiosity and doubt. Lax approached, his long fingers tapping against his leg in what Maya had learned was a sign of frustration. "Your analysis is taking considerable time," he said. "Our own experts examined the systems for weeks before we sent the distress call." Maya nodded. "I understand. But sometimes fresh eyes see things differently." Captain Diaz entered with Captain Torin. The human captain looked uncomfortable in the high-ceilinged chamber. "How's it going?" Diaz asked. Maya pointed to the display. "Their technology works on principles we've only theorized about on Earth. It's brilliant, but..." "But what?" Captain Torin asked. "It's designed for perfect conditions," Maya explained. "There are no manual overrides, minimal backup systems, and almost no way to perform repairs without specialized fabrication." Lax made a dismissive gesture. "Our systems are designed to function flawlessly. Redundancy is inefficient. Waste is not our way." Maya picked up a wrench from her toolkit. "On Earth, we learned something important during our early space missions. Complex systems always fail eventually. Always. The question isn't if something will break. It's when and how we'll fix it." She walked to a small area where they had set up a model of the alien propulsion system's control mechanism. "Your propulsion system failed because of cosmic radiation damage to these crystalline matrices," she said, pointing to glowing blue components. "Your computers couldn't identify the problem because they're programmed to look for perfect solutions." "What do you propose?" Captain Torin asked, his large eyes focused intently on Maya. "A hybrid approach," she replied. "We combine your advanced technology with our practical redundancies. It won't be as elegant as your original design, but it will get your fleet moving again." Lax made a sound that the translation software couldn't interpret. "Impossible. Our systems cannot interface with such primitive technology." "Actually," Ben interjected, "we think they can." He projected a new design onto the display. "We've been studying your power distribution network. With some modifications, we could create adapters to connect our systems to yours." Maya nodded. "It won't be pretty, but it should work." Captain Torin studied the human design. It was chaotic compared to Meridian engineering, filled with backup circuits, manual controls, and redundant pathways. "This approach seems disorganized," he said carefully. "Humans call it jerry-rigging." Maya replied with a small smile. "Sometimes the prettiest solution isn't the one that works." The Meridian Science Council convened immediately. For hours, the alien experts debated the human proposal while Maya's team waited. The council chamber's doors finally opened, and Captain Torin emerged. "The council has rejected your plan," he announced. "They believe introducing human components would compromise the integrity of our systems." Maya's heart sank. "Captain, I understand their concerns, but..." "However," Torin continued, raising a four-fingered hand, "as fleet commander, I have authority to override the council in matters of survival. I am approving your proposal." Lax stepped forward. "Captain, this is unprecedented." "So is our situation," Torin replied firmly. 10,000 years of space travel, and we've never been stranded before. Perhaps it's time we learned something new." He turned to Maya. "How soon can you begin?" Maya exchanged glances with her team. "We already have. The first adapter prototypes are being fabricated on the Horizon right now." As the humans returned to work with renewed energy, Lax approached Maya privately. "If this fails, He said quietly, "The last of our power reserves will be depleted. We will be truly lost." Maya met his gaze. "It won't fail. That's the thing about human engineering. We plan for failure, so we don't have to accept it." A week into the repair efforts, Maya woke to blaring alarms. She rushed from her temporary quarters aboard the Meridian flagship, nearly colliding with Ben in the corridor. "What's happening?" she asked, pulling on her jacket as they ran. "Life support fluctuations across the fleet," Ben replied grimly. "Started 20 minutes ago." They arrived at the command center to find chaos. Meridian crew members moved with uncharacteristic urgency, while Captain Torrens stood at the center issuing orders. "Commander Jones," Torren acknowledged as she approached, "we have a new problem." Holographic displays showed cascading failures throughout the fleet's 12 massive ships. Red warning symbols flashed everywhere. "The life support systems are degrading faster than our models predicted," explained Mira, the science officer. "We estimated 3 months of stability. Now it appears we have less than 5 days." Maya studied the data. "The propulsion repairs aren't ready. We need at least 2 more weeks." The room fell silent. 5 days was not enough time. "Options?" Torren asked, his voice steady despite the crisis. Lax stepped forward. "We must consider abandoning the fleet. The human vessel could perhaps transport some of our leadership to Earth, while we send distress calls to other Meridian colonies. The Horizon can't hold more than 20 of your people," Captain Dias pointed out. "And Earth isn't prepared for alien refugees." Tension filled the room. 10,000 Meridians lived aboard the fleet. Most would be left behind. Maya moved to the central display. "What if we redirect power? Shut down everything except minimal life support and the fabrication systems we need for the repairs." "Impossible," Lax countered. "Our systems are integrated. They cannot function independently." "Ours can," Maya replied. She turned to Ben. "Remember that power distribution hub we designed? The one with manual cutoffs?" Ben's eyes widened. "It was for the propulsion system. But the principle is the same. We could isolate the critical systems. It would require rebuilding life support controls on every ship," Mira objected. "Then we focus on one ship," Maya decided. "We move everyone to the flagship and pour all resources into keeping it habitable while we finish the propulsion repairs." Captain Torren considered this, abandoning 11 ships of the ancient fleet. "Temporarily," Maya emphasized. "Once the propulsion system is fixed, we can restore the other ships." As they debated, a message came through from Earth. The United Earth Council had been informed of the situation, and their response displayed on screen. "Alien technology must be secured for human benefit. Negotiate complete technology transfer in exchange for assistance." Captain Dias read it and shook his head. "Ignore that. Politicians being politicians." But the damage was done. Several Meridian officers exchanged concerned looks. "You would take advantage of our crisis?" one asked. "No," Maya said firmly. "That's not why we came. My team doesn't speak for Earth's politicians." Captain Torren raised his hand for silence. "What Commander Jones and her team have shown us is that humans act with honor, regardless of what messages come from their leaders. We will proceed with their plan." The evacuation began immediately. Thousands of Meridians moved to the flagship while Maya's team worked frantically to install their makeshift power distribution system. The human engineers went without sleep, rigging together solutions from spare parts and Meridian components. 3 days in, disaster struck. Maya was deep in the ship's core, installing power regulators when the lights flickered. Then the artificial gravity failed. "Ben, what's happening?" she called over the radio. "Power surge in Section 4, he shouted back. "The connections are failing." Floating in the darkness, Maya could hear the life support systems shutting down. Temperature dropping. Air thinning. "Manual override," she ordered. "We need someone at Junction Box 7. "Too late," came Ben's voice. "The whole system is crashing." In the command center, Captain Torin watched as life support readings plummeted. The elegant Meridian technology, designed to work perfectly, had no way to handle this crisis. "Evacuate that section," he ordered, knowing that hundreds of his people might die if they couldn't restore power soon. Lax looked at the human design diagram, then at Torin. Perhaps their crude approach has merit after all. Captain Torin nodded grimly. "Find Commander Jones. Tell her she has my complete authority. Whatever she needs, whatever she wants to try, do it." As the message went out, Maya was already moving through the darkened corridors, a plan forming in her mind. They needed something the Meridians had never considered necessary: an emergency backup system built from scratch. Chaos filled the flagship's central corridor as Meridians hurried toward emergency shelters. The temperature had dropped to near freezing in several sections, and oxygen levels were falling fast. In the darkened engineering bay, Maya worked by the light of emergency lamps. She had gathered every human crew member who could be spared, along with a handful of Meridian engineers who had put aside their skepticism in the face of crisis. "We need to bypass the main environmental control system," Maya explained, sketching a rough diagram on a tablet. "Their automation is failing, but the hardware still works." Jack Parker, the Horizon's maintenance technician, studied the alien machinery. At 52, Jack was the oldest human on the mission. His weathered hands had fixed everything from nuclear submarines to orbital platforms. "Reminds me of the station blackout of 32, he said, pulling tools from his belt. "Different tech, same problem. Too smart for its own good." While the others prepared cables and makeshift control panels, Jack climbed into a narrow access shaft. The Meridian engineers watched with visible concern. "That area is not designed for maintenance access," Lax pointed out. "The systems should never require physical intervention." "Yeah, well, here we are," Jack replied with a grunt as he squeezed deeper into the shaft. Captain Torin arrived with Mira. The temperature in the command center had fallen to dangerous levels, forcing them to relocate. "Commander Jones, the evacuation is proceeding, but we're losing environmental control in sections 7 through 12, Torin reported, his breath visible in the cold air. Maya nodded grimly. "We're working on a manual override. If we can route control through our human systems, we can stabilize life support." "Your systems are compatible?" Mira asked, surprise evident in her voice. "Not exactly," Ben answered, connecting cables to a portable computer. "But electricity is electricity, and data is data. We're basically hot wiring your ship." From inside the access shaft, Jack called out, "I've reached the main junction. These crystal things connect to the atmospheric processors, right?" Lax moved closer to the shaft entrance. "Correct, but they cannot be manipulated manually. They respond only to..." A sudden shower of sparks erupted from the shaft, followed by Jack's cursing. The lights throughout the section flickered wildly, then stabilized at a dim glow. "Jack," Maya called out, "are you okay?" After a tense moment, Jack's voice echoed back, "Yeah, got shocked pretty good, but I found a workaround." He emerged minutes later, his face smudged and one glove slightly burned. In his hands, he held several crystal components connected to a crude metal device. "Had to bypass the safety protocols," he explained. "These beauties control atmosphere but won't talk to our computers, so I made them a translator." Ben connected Jack's makeshift device to their system. The human computer screen filled with data as it established communication with the alien environmental systems. "It's working," Ben exclaimed. "We've got control of life support for sections 5 through 8. Maya turned to Captain Torin. "We need to do this throughout the ship. It's not elegant, but it will keep everyone alive." For the first time since they'd met him, Torin's expression showed clear emotion, something like wonder mixed with humility. "In 10,000 years of Meridian history," he said quietly, "we have perfected our technology to eliminate the need for such improvisation. Yet in our moment of greatest need, it is precisely this skill that saves us." Over the next 12 hours, Human Meridian teams worked throughout the flagship. Jack trained both humans and aliens on his bypassing technique, while Maya coordinated the integration of human control systems with Meridian technology. By the time they finished, the flagship resembled something neither human nor Meridian, a hybrid of elegant alien design and pragmatic human fixes. Exposed wiring ran alongside crystal conduits. Handmade control panels were attached to seamless walls. It wasn't pretty, but the life support stabilized. In the makeshift command center, Maya found Lax studying Jack's original bypass device with intense focus. "This should not work," Lax said, not looking up. "It violates multiple design principles." "But it does work," Maya replied. Lax finally raised his eyes to meet hers. "Yes, and I begin to understand why your species has survived despite your technological limitations. You embrace imperfection." "We don't just embrace it," Maya said with a tired smile. "Sometimes we depend on it." With life support stabilized, Maya called an emergency meeting in the flagship's conference chamber. Human and Meridian crew members gathered around a large holographic display showing the current state of the propulsion system repairs. "We've bought ourselves time," Maya explained, pointing to the life support data. "But these bypasses are temporary. We need to fix the main propulsion system before something else fails." Captain Torin nodded. "Our supplies continue to diminish. The calculations suggest we have 14 days before critical resource depletion." Maya zoomed in on the propulsion core design. "We've analyzed the original engine failure. The exotic matter containment degraded after passing through an undetected radiation field. The system was designed to operate perfectly or not at all." "No middle ground," Jack added from where he sat cleaning tools. "No limp home mode." Ben stepped forward with a tablet. "We've been working on a hybrid solution. It won't restore your engines to full capacity, but it should give you enough power to reach a Meridian outpost." He displayed their design, a combination of Meridian technology and human ingenuity. Where the alien system relied on perfect symmetry and balance, the human modifications introduced deliberate redundancies and manual controls. "This is unorthodox," Mira observed, studying the design. "That's one word for it," Ben agreed with a tired smile. "We're essentially creating a backup engine that runs alongside your main system. It's less efficient, but much more robust." Lax, who had grown more receptive to human ideas since the life support crisis, pointed to a section of the design. "The power requirements exceed our current capacity." "That's the hard part," Maya admitted. "We need components from the Horizon and materials from 3 of the fleet's auxiliary vessels." Captain Dias looked concerned. "You want to cannibalize our ship?" "Not all of it," Maya assured him. "But we need the backup fusion reactor and about 30% of our hull plating." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Without those components, the Horizon couldn't return to Earth. "There would be no going back for us," Ben said quietly. "Not until the Meridians could take us to an outpost with proper facilities." Captain Torin straightened to his full height. "You would sacrifice your vessel and risk stranding yourselves to save us." "That's the job," Maya replied simply. "We came to help." After a moment of silence, Captain Dias nodded. "The Horizon and her crew are at your disposal, Commander Jones." "Then let's get to work," Maya said. The next 5 days were a blur of activity. Human and Meridian crews worked in continuous shifts, dismantling sections of the Horizon and integrating them into the new propulsion system. What the Meridians lacked in improvisational skills, they made up for with precision and endurance. Jack led a team of technicians on dangerous spacewalks between vessels, manually transferring critical components that couldn't be moved through internal systems. The work was hazardous, exposed to radiation and micrometeorites with only their suits for protection. In the flagship's engineering bay, Ben worked alongside Meridian scientists to adapt their theoretical models to account for the human modifications. Traditional Meridian engineering rejected imperfection, but the crisis had opened their minds to new approaches. "It's fascinating," Ben told Maya during a rare break. "Their math predicts catastrophic failure with our design, but only because they assume components must work at 100% efficiency or not at all." "Humans know better," Maya replied, sipping a bitter coffee substitute. 90% is still an A-. On the sixth day, they were ready for the first test. The modified propulsion system looked nothing like its original Meridian design. Sleek crystal chambers were now reinforced with metal plating. Delicate control mechanisms had manual overrides attached. Power conduits from the Horizon connected directly to Meridian energy matrices. Maya stood at the makeshift control panel with Captain Torin and the engineering teams. Every face showed exhaustion mixed with hope. "All systems are aligned," Lax reported. "Power levels at pre-initialization parameters." Maya took a deep breath. Activating startup sequence. She pressed the controls, not elegant touch-sensitive Meridian interfaces, but physical buttons and switches installed by human hands. The ship vibrated slightly as power flowed through the new pathways. Warning lights flashed immediately. "Power fluctuation in the secondary matrix," Mira called out. Before the Meridian engineers could react, Jack reached past them and manually adjusted a series of valves. "Rerouting through the backup circuit. Keep going." The vibration intensified. Display screens showed energy levels rising across all systems. "Containment holding at 83%, Ben reported. "That's within our acceptable parameters." "Unacceptable by Meridian standards," Lax noted, "but sufficient." Maya watched the readings climb steadily. Initiating main ignition sequence. The flagship shuddered, lights dimming momentarily before brightening again. A low hum built throughout the vessel, the sound of immense power being channeled and controlled. "It's working," Ben whispered, staring at the data. "The containment is stable. We've got propulsion." A cheer erupted from the human crew members. The Meridians remained more reserved, but their expressions showed clear relief. Captain Torin turned to Maya, placing a four-fingered hand on her shoulder in a gesture she recognized as profound respect. "You have achieved what we thought impossible," he said, "with tools we would have dismissed as primitive and methods we would have rejected as flawed." Maya smiled tiredly. Sometimes the perfect solution isn't the right one. The Meridian flagship glided smoothly through space, its new hybrid engines humming with steady power. Behind it, the rest of the fleet followed in perfect formation, each vessel now equipped with the human-designed propulsion system. From the observation deck, Maya watched the stars streak by, still amazed that their makeshift solution had worked so well. "Our estimated arrival time at Meridian Outpost Kestra is 17 days. Captain Torin announced as he joined her. "The engines are performing at 87% efficiency. In human terms, that's an A+, Maya replied with a smile. The past week had been filled with careful testing and adjustments as the fleet prepared to journey onward. With the immediate crisis resolved, both humans and Meridians had time to reflect on what they had accomplished together." Captain Torin gestured toward the viewport. "Our Council of Elders is assembling at Kestra. They wish to formally thank humanity for saving our civilization." "We just fixed some engines," Maya said modestly. "You did far more than that," Torin countered. "For 10,000 years, the Meridian Armada has traveled the stars, believing our technology and methods superior to all others. We saw imperfection as weakness. You showed us otherwise." The door slid open as Ben and several other human crew members arrived with Lax and Mira. The two species no longer separated themselves during gatherings, a small but significant change from when they first met. "The efficiency analyses are complete," Lax announced, displaying a hologram. "While less elegant than our original design, the hybrid system is actually more resilient to cosmic radiation and unexpected phenomena. And easier to repair," Jack added from the back of the group. "No offense, but your original system needed a factory to fix. This one just needs a good wrench and some duct tape." The Meridians had learned to recognize human humor, and several made the soft trilling sound that passed for laughter among their kind. Captain Diaz wishes to speak with you both, Ben told Maya and Torin. He's in the communication center. They found Captain Diaz reviewing a message from Earth. He looked up as they entered, his expression serious but not grim. Word of our success has reached the United Earth Council, he explained. They're very interested in the technology exchange possibilities. As expected, Torin acknowledged. Your leaders wish to acquire our advanced systems. And what does the Meridian Council want? Maya asked directly. Torin's large eyes blinked slowly. There has been much debate. Some favor giving humans limited technology as payment for assistance. Others fear providing too much advancement too quickly. That's fair, Maya said. We don't always use our technology wisely. No species does, Torin replied. Which is why I have proposed a different approach. Not a technology transfer, but a knowledge exchange. We would teach principles, while allowing humans to develop applications in their own way, at their own pace. Diaz raised an eyebrow. The council back home won't like that. They want the shortcuts. There are no shortcuts to wisdom, Torin said. Something we have learned from you. The communication panel chimed with an incoming transmission from the Meridian Council. Torin answered, speaking in the musical language of his people. The conversation was brief, but appeared significant. It is decided, Torin announced after ending the call. The Council has approved my proposal. We will establish the first formal alliance between our species. Maya felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The fear of conflict between Earth and the Meridians had troubled her since the first message from the United Earth Council. There's more, Torin continued. Several Meridian scientists have requested permission to return with you to Earth to serve as teachers at your universities, and we would welcome human engineers aboard our vessels to continue what you have started here. Jack stepped forward, surprising everyone. I'd volunteer for that. Always wanted to see more of the universe. Others from the human crew nodded in agreement. The prospect of traveling beyond human space was too tempting to resist. Captain Diaz smiled. I'll inform Earth that we've established more than just diplomatic relations. We've created a partnership. As the meeting concluded, Maya found herself looking once more at the stars through the viewport. When they had first received the distress signal, no one could have predicted this outcome. Humans had been called to save a stranded alien fleet, but in doing so, they had changed the course of two civilizations. Lax joined her, his posture more relaxed than when they first met. We believed ourselves to be the teachers of the galaxy, he admitted. Now we find ourselves students as well. That's the secret to human progress, Maya replied. We never stop learning, especially from our mistakes. Outside the viewport, the vastness of space stretched before them, filled with possibilities neither species could imagine alone, but might discover together.